What is up, guys? It is James from Cop Logic, and I didn't think I'd be making this video today or even any time this season, to be honest, but here we are. So I'm gonna give my thoughts and sort of immediate reaction on the news, but before we do that, obviously let's just get the announcement itself out the way. So Jurgen Klopp has announced his decision to step down as LFC manager at the end of the season, having informed ownership of his wish to leave his position in the summer. And then following that from Fabrizio Romano, not only Jurgen Klopp, but also assistant Pep Lijnders and Peter Krawietz and development coach Vitor Matos will leave Liverpool at the end of the season. Pep is keen to pursue his own career in management. Liverpool director Jörg Schmatke will also leave the club at the end of the January transfer window. That one probably a bit less surprising. So, yeah, Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool Football Club at the end of the season. If you haven't already seen his interview video, and I suspect that you have, but if you haven't, go and watch it. I'll put the link to that in the description. A few of the things he said in that you kind of can't argue with. He mentioned how at the start of each season they discuss the next season already, and so the start of the season they were discussing things like what players they're going to be looking to bring in and where they're going to go for the pre-season development camp and stuff. And he had this thought to himself that, like, I don't think I'm gonna be here for that, and that's really sad. You can understand it to an extent. He mentioned how, I mean, first of all, the good news is there's no health reason why he's leaving or anything like that. He said he's run out of energy, but I think that's more of a mental, capacity to continue to do this job again and again and again. He was pulling off miracles, so it's not easy to keep doing that. He mentioned that he has never had a normal life, but he's a normal guy and he wants to have a go at having a normal life before he's too old to do it. So, you can't really argue with that reasoning. It's fair. And he also spoke about last season, obviously the bad season, how, in other clubs and a lot of other managers in that position, the club would look to move them on. It'd be a thank you for your time here. Things aren't working out at the moment. We're going to part ways. And that never happened with him. And, that kind of gave him the realization that, I'm not going to ever be sacked, which means one day I have to make the decision myself. And it's better to go out on top, I guess. It's better to burn out than fade away. We have every opportunity to do that. Liverpool is still in all competitions. When he initially announced this morning, like when I first saw the announcement, I thought to myself, like, what? Why now? Like, with such bad timing, right before a final. How is this going to affect the players? I don't know if the players already knew. He mentioned that obviously he informed the club in November, but that's informing the club owners so they can start making preparations for whatever comes next. Life without Jurgen Klopp. I don't know if I assume the club knew before us, certainly, but I don't know when how long the players have known what this is going to do to the squad, what it's going to do to the fans. But I think, on reflection, it will galvanize everyone. It will galvanize the fans, and hopefully it will galvanize the players as well, and it will push them on to do, give it everything for Klopp's final season and give him everything, because he deserves, he deserves it. He deserves more than what he has already accomplished at Liverpool Football Club, which is everything. This is the greatest era of Liverpool Football Club that I, have ever seen in my lifetime. And this is the end of the golden era for Liverpool for some time, more than likely. Let's be honest about that. Jurgen Klopp has won it all for Liverpool, and it's what else as well? Build that statue. When he goes, build that statue, because he deserves one. This is the greatest era of Liverpool Football Club in my lifetime. I know there's what's come before, but for me, this is it. He won everything at Liverpool: Premier League, Champions League, both domestic cups, and more on top of that. And it should have still been more. Probably the saddest thing about this is that we never got to see what it should have been. And I know people are gonna not like that I'm about to bring up Manchester City in a video about Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, but I think it needs to be said that if these 115 charges turn out to be true, if Manchester City are found guilty, and they will be, because you don't get 115 charges without at least some of them being legit, it's going to sting so much more, because we're going to have to think about what would have been. What Jurgen Klopp would have accomplished at Liverpool Football Club would have been biblical. And what he has done is legendary, but what it should have been was so much more than that. We should have dominated the Premier League with Jurgen Klopp. And you can say what you like about Pep Guardiola and the team that he put together, but the team that he put together should never have been together, because by the very legality of the Premier League, by the rules that the Premier League have laid out, that squad should not exist. They should not be together, because they have cheated. And in many ways, it says even more about Jurgen Klopp and what he was able to accomplish, that we ran them so close so many times. We got the better of them once, and I hope to God that we do it again this year. But you know, to run them so close to within a point twice is an incredible achievement, and it's just a shame that we don't have what we should have to show for that. And Jurgen Klopp deserves so much more than what he has earned at Liverpool Football Club. And so I hope, like, if one thing can be gained from this, one positive thing, is that it galvanizes the fans and it galvanizes the team to go on and win it all, because we're still in every competition. We have every opportunity to make the best of this situation that we possibly can, and I just hope we do it. Now more than ever, I want the Premier League this season, because we'll never do it again under Jurgen Klopp. It has to happen. Thinking about it, like, I mean, I want to win it all. I want to win it all, but there's certainly competitions that we're currently in that I would now sacrifice to make the most of this Premier League run. And there are other aspects to this news as well. You know, like, it's not just Jurgen Klopp leaving, it's the whole back team staff are leaving. Now, that's not always necessarily a bad thing, because whoever they bring in after this, it's definitely better that they bring their own team in, because you want them to be able to be comfortable in their environment and work with whoever that is. And I'm not going to discuss, like, who could potentially come in or whatever, because I don't think this is the time for that. Like, we'll definitely do a video on that in the future, but I don't think it's time to start talking about who we could see. By the way, feel free to talk about that in the comments. I just don't think it's appropriate for this video right now, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Whoever it is that comes in probably would want their own team around them. But it's what happens to the players now. You know, Mo Salah obviously has got those extension talks coming up. Does he extend now? I suspect probably not. And players coming in, you know, Jurgen Klopp, working under Jurgen Klopp is a massive draw for players. How will that affect our recruitment going forwards? I don't know. But it will affect it. You know, it's definitely going to be harder now. The positive is that Jurgen has built a really, really strong squad before he leaves. And he always promised that he would do that. So he has kept his promise. Because look at this team right now. We're fighting on all fronts. We're at the top of the Premier League. He's built a great squad, and he will leave us with a great squad. So he's kept his promise. Despite what it might mean for players coming in the future, what it does mean for players at the club right now is that they have to be aware of how lucky they are. And they will be. Like, they know that they're working under one of the greatest managers of all time. A manager that many players would do anything to have that opportunity. Players that are here right now, and certainly players that came in this summer, will, I hope, make the most of their time that they have with Jurgen Klopp. And the same goes for the fans. You know, life with Jurgen Klopp is definitely going to be better than life without Jurgen Klopp, at least for some time. So let's make the most of what we have left with him, which is this season. So let's do it all, because we're still in it all. So I just hope that we can talk about the memories that we have, all the things that he's won, on all those great moments. For some reason, I keep seeing Lallana diving on him and his glasses. He's losing his glasses and all that. Like, that's not the best moment we have with Jurgen Klopp. It's all the things that we won, the Champions League. I don't know why that keeps flashing up in my brain, but It does. We have an opportunity to make more memories, and that's what we should focus on right now, because we're still in all the competition. So let's go and do it. Let's go and win it all. Now more than ever, it is so pivotal that we give it everything this season, because this is the season to do it. But it's bad news. Like, there's no getting around that. It sucks. This sucks. I can't believe that I'm making this video. You know, there's definitely going to be a lull, you would imagine, because, you know, we're not going to get a manager as great as Jurgen Klopp. There is no one like Jurgen Klopp. Change isn't always... Jurgen asked in the video that the fans, you know, don't make these games about him. The fans and the players as well, don't make it about him. He knows what he means to the club and to the fans, and it doesn't need that to be proven or shown to him in any way. But I think it's really impossible to not make the rest of the season about him, even if it's not done vocally by singing his songs or whatever. It has to be done on the pitch or by the players, and in the ground by the fans. Just, you know, those big European games and those big moments where the fans have really shown up for Liverpool. Do that every game for the rest of this season. Why not? If you can do it once, you can do it every single time. So let's just go and make the rest of this season the best season that it possibly can be. Starting with that Carabao Cup final. In fact, forget that. Starting with the game against Norwich. Every single game from now until the end of the season, let's just go and make the most of it. Let's go and fill that trophy cabinet up as much as it possibly can be before Jurgen Klopp leaves. And, you know, even though this is obviously a huge negative right now, we are in a massive positive in the season. And what comes next, no one knows. But the important thing to remember is that change isn't always a bad thing. As long as you don't fight it, and there is really no point in fighting it, because he will not overturn this decision. He wouldn't have announced it if he didn't mean it. There's no going back from this. It will happen. So don't fight it. Just, we have to move on with hope in our hearts.
We are Liverpool. We went through harder things together, and you went through harder things before me. And let's make a strength of it. That would be really cool. Let's squeeze everything out of this season and have another thing to smile about when we look back in the future. Thank you.